Welcome to the Braddog Media Show with me, Brady. Wow, guys. What a show we have today. Our guest is Nolan Sponsler of NS Jewelry. You know, I knew he had a pretty cool story. He was a collegiate baseball player and played at a really high level and unfortunately had something really tragic happen to him, which we discussed in the interview. And his story to be able to come back from that is really inspiring, and he's killing it now, man. You know, you think jewelry, you think some of the big box stores, the Hellsberg and whatnot, just kind of the standard thing, but his custom jewelry is no joke. I was really impressed when I went and looked at his Instagram and Facebook. Wow, really cool stuff. And it's just a really unique skill set to have. I personally don't really know anybody that is a craftsman in jewelry like that, and his work is, like I mentioned, really impressive, but I think his story's even crazier. His comeback from really a pretty dark place and the ability to just go for it. It's not a common trait to have, just to put everything on the line like he did. And I think you all will be really impressed with him. And if you want to go check out his work on Facebook, he's at NS Jewelry. On Instagram, he's at _ NS Jewelry _. And he has a website. It's www.nscustomjewelry.com. Mention to him that I sent you there, and you'll get 10% off. He was really generous to offer that to the listeners. So please welcome Nolan Sponsler. Nolan, what's going on?
Yo.
So I have here Nolan Sponsler. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Nolan Sponsler, owner of NS Custom Jewelry. So first off, how'd you get into jewelry design? I mean, that's really unique for, I feel like, especially people our age. Like, I don't know anybody personally that got into that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, so I actually got into it by kind of falling into it. I was going through some life changes. I used to play collegiate baseball, and my career ended in a horrible way. But once that ended, I needed to find a summer job. And one of my buddy's brothers was a jeweler up at the local Jerry. So I got an apprenticeship there and started polishing rings and doing paperwork to get started. But whenever I had time, I would jump on the bench and practice my simple repairs and ring sizings and such. And that's initially how I got into it.
Nice, yeah. So I'm guessing you had some big injury. Did you have like Tommy John or something?
I guess I'll talk about it. But there are some crazy things that happened. So just, any college dude would throw parties every once in a while, and being that we were a baseball team, we'd have other athletes over to hang out. And we had a couple basketball players that we were friends with that would come over every once in a while and hang out. So people knew where we lived and who we were. And for whatever reason, these basketball players, they were brothers, they tried to rob me and my roommates. And
Wow.
It didn't really go the way that I guess they would have planned it to go. We weren't very compliant, and it escalated, and they ended up having a gun on them, and sorry, it gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
No, yeah, I mean, thanks for sharing. You don't have to get too deep into it if you don't want to.
Sorry, dude, it gets easier every time I talk about it. But they pulled a gun and they shot at me.
Wow.
And miraculously missed. But they ended up shooting one of my roommates in the face, and he survived by the grace of God. And he ended up losing his eye, but overall, he got to live. And during that whole exchange, I got injured. And after that, had to deal with some mental issues. And that was a long road to figuring that out, but I did. Due to all of this happening, from the tragedy in my apartment to falling into jewelry and the loss of my identity as someone I thought as being a baseball player, having my whole future and career tied into that, simply end and totally switch course. That's when as I started figuring myself out, finding a new identity, that's when I found a passion for jewelry.
That's crazy. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, geez, I had a baseball injury that stopped me from playing, so I thought we would relate in some way, but geez, didn't go through anything like that, but yeah, that's amazing. I mean, thank God your buddy made it. That's scary.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so to get back onto the business side of things a little bit, I mean, again, thanks for sharing that. That's crazy. That's an awesome story, though. Like, you didn't turn to anything negative, though. You found a positive out of it. And
no, there was for sure a lot of negative that happened after that. The doctors trying to solve I had horrible PTSD and nightmares, which from not being able to figure out how to solve that led to depression. I had severe social anxiety after the fact, which then led to doctors prescribing me more things, which was just a horrible time in my life. But eventually I stopped listening to doctors and started listening to myself and what I knew I needed to do, and that's when I turned myself around and found my passion for other things in life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really hate that these days the go-to thing is just pills and prescriptions. It's a scary road.
I mean, you go in there, they're in the business of treating your symptoms, and it worked temporarily, but in the end, it made things worse and never dealt with underlying issues. And instead of the initial thing being go talk to a therapist and work through those problems, was take a pill and mask it. But yeah, we're well over that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, they always want to fix the symptoms but not get to the root of the problem, you know? I mean, I have family that have gone through a lot of similar situations, like at least on the prescription side of things.
Yeah, and it's a lot too. The person has to be willing to confront those things, otherwise you're never going to make it. And it's a hard road. And when you're in that type of state, it's hard. A lot of people, like, you lose friends, and people don't know how to necessarily help you, and it's difficult. I can understand why it's such a hard thing for medical industry to try and fix, but I think they're making great progress.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Glad to see you make it out of the other side too. So,
yeah, man.
So after all that, you start getting into jewelry, getting into that craft. And from the little bit I know about at least your start in that, so you start working at a jeweler full time, and they only want to pay you 20 hours a week because the other 20 was considered training.
Well, yeah. So I worked for 3 years at the local Jared, and I got great experience there, especially on working for another business to get my skills up to a level. So I get to mess up their jewelry, not my own. But that was a good place to start. But it's not the place that you go to learn how to really refine your skills.
Okay, right.
And get advanced training in fabrication and the best way to set stones and fabricate things. Because there isn't much fabricating going on there. It's more repair work. So after as I decided what I wanted to do with my career, I realized there was a lot more that I needed to learn as far as casting the proper way to set stones, especially with some of the stuff I wanted to do that are going to use these weird shaped stones, and you got to know how to fabricate settings to fit these odd shapes. So what I did was I was looking for a new job, and I originally from St. Louis, and I went to just about every jeweler in St. Louis looking for someone who would be willing to teach me the ropes, and nobody was really that willing to teach me the proper way. And being that I only had a few years working at a Jared, I didn't really have what they were looking for. So during this time, I wanted to pursue gem cutting. So I reached out to somebody that I follow on Instagram. His name is Mark Oros, runs a company called Hash New Stones and Gems. He is a master gem cutter, just does phenomenal work, and I was a huge fan. So I messaged him on Instagram and asked if he'd be willing to teach me. And he lives up in Ithaca, New York, so I packed my bags and drove up to Ithaca. It's such a beautiful area up there too, and he taught me the basics to doing it. And at that moment, after my 3 days, I knew that this was something that I was going to love doing. So I then placed my order for my machines. I took 2 credit cards out to.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Totally maxed them out, given that these companies give you the however many months long, no interest.
Oh, for sure.
I took advantage of that because it's like, you can go $200,000 into debt going into $20,000 business loan. So
right, it's crazy.
Right, so I went and they're offering the credit cards, so I figured, okay, I'm going to do this because I need the equipment, and the only way that I'm going to learn is if I have this equipment and can work every day on it. And the only way to get myself proficient is to put in as much time as possible once I have it, and then maybe hopefully when that time is up on my interest, I'll be proficient enough that I'm selling stones and starting to pay this stuff back.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Yeah, you just went for it.
That was the plan. Yeah, I had no idea if it was going to work, but I have support, so I just went for it.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. So, and how many years ago was that you started working for yourself?
It was a year and a month. I didn't start working for myself until, so I cut my first stone in June last year with Hash New. I got my equipment made, my flat laps, by August, and then I got my fantasy cutting machine by end of September. So it was after I had all my machines and had the training under my belt that I started selling my stones and selling my jewelry. So about 8 months.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, I went to your Facebook and Instagram and checked it all out, and I mean, they're crazy. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I thought it was a cool story, like, you're doing some things for yourself, and I go, I don't know. I don't know what to expect really going to it. I'm like, geez, these are crazy. And I made the mistake of showing my wife your Instagram page, and now, I mean, she's like, I like the purple one. Show me that one. And so I might have got myself in trouble, but yeah, it's so impressive. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, all the things you craft, it's so unique. And yeah, it's hard to believe you've only done it for, not that long.
Well, yeah, I mean, I learned from masters. Like, I learned from who I consider to be the best in the industry. And Hashnu was the first initial person that I learned from. Um, and he's been a mentor to me over this entire time. I still talk to an amazing person. And in November last year, I took a week class with Dalen Hargrave, and he's a scientist, he's a craftsman, he's just an excellent artist, super creative, and he's what opened up my mind to what was possible with gemstones. He's the one who taught me the ins and outs to fancy cutting and how to make tools and use your imagination to think about how these tools can work with the machinery. And that's all there is to it, is translating what your ideas are into stone.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear he's your mentor's still around and you talk with him regularly. I mean,
he's a huge reason to my success. Anytime I have a question or need rough or something like that, I can always call him for anything.
Yeah.
Or advice in general. He's just a great mentor.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's really important for anybody to get a mentor. Just, and I mean, a lot of times, like, you work for somebody, you might think they would resent you a little bit for going out and doing your own thing. But, I mean, if you're working for, somebody cool like that, I mean, they want you to go out and have success. And
yeah, also what I was going to say was this move down to Nashville where I'm working 40 hours and 20 of the hours is training. So I actually got linked up with, so the company I worked for here in Nashville was Buffalo Craft Company, and that's run by Mark Farrell. He is an excellent jeweler, and he does everything custom, and it's all hand fabricated, hand finished. He does all the work himself, from the casting to the cleanup to stone setting. Just excellent craftsman again. And he's actually really good friends with Hashnu. So the reason I moved down here and even had a connection with Mark Farrell here at Buffalo Craft Co was because of Hashnu. So Hashnu knew that I was looking for a new job that was going to help advance my jeweler skills. So he links me up with Buffalo Craft Company, and we came to an agreement that I would work for him 20 hours a week paid, and then the other 20 hours would be me training to get my skills up to speed to be able to produce Buffalo Craft Company work. And I mean, it goes back to what the Gary Vee stuff that he talks about, like going and working for free.
yeah,
The ins and outs and pick up the skills that you need to learn. And I'm all for that. So moving down to Nashville, I wasn't going to be making enough money to cover all my expenses. It was enough to cover my one-bedroom apartment and medium income area in Nashville, and the prices are going up like crazy here. A lot of people moving here. So I was able to afford my rent, able to afford my car payment, but that wasn't enough to cover my student loans that I'm paying off. And food and other expenses. So I had to figure out a way to make additional income. And being that I cut stones, that was the way that I was going to do it. So when I would get off work, I'd go right. I have my stones cutting set up in my dining room of my apartment.
Oh, wow.
I don't have a TV. I don't have internet, which is why I'm here. I just put my head down and worked. And I mean, it's not much work because I do enjoy doing it. So I would rather do that than watch TV any day. But I did that when I got off of work. And then I would post stones and I would take custom orders. And after a few months of doing that consistently, it then blossomed into where I was backed up a few months with orders. And I was starting to get overwhelmed, not thinking I was going to be able to I was already late on things. So I just decided that I had to focus on my stuff. And I told Mark, and he's totally supportive of everything. And I'm super grateful for the opportunity he gave me to come down here and learn from him. I learned a ton, and stuff that didn't even have to do with jewelry. It had to do with how to run a business and how to save money and make the money that you do save work for you, buy assets that make you money, and he's another incredible mentor. So I'm getting ready to move back to St. Louis and focus on my craft.
Nice. Back to Missouri.
Yeah, back to Missouri.
Yeah, there we go. The wrong side, but I mean, you know.
It's temporary, though. It's where I need to go to save some money over the next couple months, but ultimately I'd like to move somewhere in the mountains or on the coast.
Oh, for sure. Some better weather than Missouri.
Yeah, man. Can't take the humidity.
Yeah, no, it's not great. So, where to go to now? So, are you fully working for yourself now, or do you still work for that company a little bit?
I do work for him still a little bit. I have maybe a week or two left as we make the transition. And he does have plenty of stuff. Like if he needs help with anything, he'll just, I'll freelance work for him and do what he needs if I have some time to help him out. But other than that, I'm just fulfilling orders and cutting on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, and so to get, I don't know, a little like bigger picture to be like relatable to everybody listening. So, like, I don't know a lot of people that cut jewelry, but I mean, I know so many people that have a skill or craft in whatever they're doing, and they just kind of accept the idea that it always has to be for somebody else and to make somebody else money. I mean, especially with the internet now, I mean, if you're in marketing,
if you have a skill and or just anything, it's just you're passionate about something. I mean, you can make money off of it. You just need to put yourself out there, show people what you do, and let the market decide whether what you're doing is worthy of them giving you money.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no reason that if you have a particular skill and you're good at it and good at marketing yourself, you can make enough money to get by, or at least have a side hustle and work on growing that, especially if it's something that you're passionate about. It's really not much friction when you get off work to go do it.
No, not at all. Yeah, and I relate to you. I mean, not exactly. I do have TVs, but man, yeah, I've been trying to build up my Amazon sales over the past few months. So that's my like current side hustle, along with different marketing that I've been doing, and a little bit of the personal brand now. And I haven't played video games in months. I mean, like, I just want to get home and get to work on, my projects, not for somebody else, I mean, that's way more exciting for me than anything else I could be doing with my time.
Absolutely, and I mean, we can talk forever about the psychology of video games too, and what that does to your false sense of accomplishment.
Right.
Beating levels or a game, it's like you're meant to beat the game. It's like in the real world, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I'd rather level up in real life, so.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the main points of this show, too, as I get it rolling. I just want to show people that you don't have to, like, accept your reality and whatever your current situation is. You can make time on the side to build something else up.
Yeah, and
There's so many options.
It's not easy, but it's fulfilling, and it's worth it. As long as you have a strong enough reason why, you can bear almost anyhow.
Yeah, for sure. And man, I mean, you're a great example of that. Just packing up everything and moving, however many miles away. Just go for it.
An intuitive thing. I had no idea if it was going to work out, but it felt right and felt like something I needed to do, so I went and did it. And it worked out. So
yeah, that's cool. Man, yeah. So thanks for sharing everything. So would you like to plug some of your social media accounts? I know you're so it's _NS Jewelry _ on Instagram. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's my Instagram handle. And my Facebook is just NS Jewelry. And if anybody has anything they want to reach out to me and have a special project, that's what I try to focus on. One of the projects that I'm working on right now, it's just absolutely beautiful, the story behind it. So a lady messaged me on Instagram, and she actually bought one of my most recent aquamarines, and she was a fan of my work, and she believed in me, and recently reconnected with her sister that she separated with when she was 5, if I remember correctly, and hadn't seen her since. And they just reconnected maybe a year or 2 ago.
Wow.
And she wants 2 rings made for her and her sister. So I had the idea of sourcing a gemstone and cutting that stone into 2 pieces and cutting 2 stones from the same piece.
Wow, that's really cool.
The separation of the sisters, but still maintaining that they're from the same source.
Yeah.
And so that's one of my favorite projects that I've ever worked on, and I'm currently in the process of doing that. So that's the type of work that I like to do. I do work that's related to sacred geometry and the symbolism behind that. I'm currently doing research on the language of light and the geometry and mathematics behind it, and I'm trying to incorporate that into new gem designs. So that's some cool stuff coming.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that it's a lot deeper than just the jewelry itself. A lot of times it sounds like, it's not like, it's a different experience going like through you than it would be at Jared's or wherever. I mean,
Sure.
You can be a lot more creative with it.
Yeah, they're selling mass-produced stuff, and I mean, there's a market for that, but that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in creating heirloom quality jewelry that, when people wear it, it's a representation of what they stand for, who they are, and where they're going.
That's a really cool niche too. It's just, it's a lot different. I can see that being really successful, so that's cool to hear about.
Thanks.
Yeah, anything else you want to discuss or that you can think of?
Yeah, man, I just want to say I appreciate you having me on, and thanks for reaching out. And I wish you success in any venture that you're after.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to come on. You have a really unique story, a lot more unique than I was even expecting. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And everybody go follow him, give him business. So I guess one more quick question. Do people need to be local for to get your products, or do you ship?
I have sent gemstones to New Zealand. So
Wow, okay.
anywhere, I know there's some, if you're in other countries, you might have to pay the import taxes. But other than that, I can ship anywhere in the world. I can do Skype calls to talk through designs. All my designs I do renderings for before, whether it's a hand rendering or a computer model. So you'll get to see exactly what you're getting beforehand. No problem shipping anywhere.
Awesome. And so do you have a website too, or do you just work through social media?
I do. My website is nscustomjewelry.com, and I don't really do much e-commerce on the site. I do have some past gems that are up there that are available, but most anything that I put up on my Facebook and my Instagram, and it normally sells through there before I have a chance to put it on my website.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, thank you very much, and we'll have to stay in touch. I'm definitely going to be watching, seeing everything you're up to, and just keep following along. Awesome. Thanks. What a story. Thanks so much to Nolan for coming on the show. And like I mentioned before, check out his social media sites. You can find him at _NSjewelry_ on Instagram. Facebook, he's at NS Jewelry. And he has a website. You can find that at www.nscustomjewelry.com. Mention that I sent you there, and he will give you 10% off. As for me, on Instagram, it's Braddog Media. On Twitter, it's Braddog Media. And on LinkedIn, feel free to add me at Brady Hester. Peace.